What if I told you that the difference between being forgettable and unforgettable to a girl comes down to the questions you ask? Most guys think impressing a woman is about money, looks, or status. But psychology says something else. Curiosity creates connection. And the right questions can make her open up, trust you, and even see you as different from every other guy. Today I'll give you 40 powerful insights and examples. The psychology of questions. Asking interesting questions isn't just small talk, it's science. Studies show that when someone shares personal details, their brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This means that with the right questions, you're literally triggering chemistry that builds attraction. But here's the secret. It's not about random questions. It's about asking the kind that makes her think, feel, and reveal something deeper. Before we dive into the questions, remember this rule. People love talking about themselves. If you can get her to open up without sounding like an interviewer, you instantly become more attractive. The goal isn't to interrogate, it's to create a flow where she feels comfortable sharing her world. Think less job interview, more late-night conversation under the stars. Hook questions that spark emotion. Start with something that surprises her. What's one thing you've always wanted to try but never had the courage to? This works because it taps into desire, fear, and dreams all at once. It's open-ended, emotional, and instantly makes the conversation personal. Interesting questions work best when they make her pause, smile, and think before answering. Another psychological trigger: nostalgia. Ask her, what's a childhood memory that always makes you smile? Nostalgic memories activate dopamine, which boosts positive emotions. When she relives those happy moments, her brain subconsciously associates you with those same feelings. Suddenly, you're no longer just talking. You're creating an emotional connection without her realizing it. Want her to see you as different? Try curiosity-driven questions. If you could relive one day of your life, which would it be and why? This isn't just about learning her story. It positions you as someone who cares about her experiences. That genuine curiosity builds trust faster than compliments or surface-level small talk ever could. Building chemistry through psychology. Here's the science. People are more likely to bond when they share personal stories. Harvard research shows that talking about ourselves activates the same pleasure centers as food and money. So, the more you get her talking about her passions, fears, and dreams, the more connected she'll feel to you. But balance is key. Share your own experiences too. Ask, what's one decision you made that completely changed your life? This works because it digs into transformation, something everyone relates to. When she shares, she's revealing her values, struggles, and growth. That's where real chemistry begins. And if you respond with your own story, the conversation becomes a shared experience instead of one-sided questioning. Avoid generic questions like, how was your day? Or, what do you do for work? They bore the brain because they don't activate emotional or imaginative thinking. Instead, use contrast questions like, would you rather spend a week in the mountains or a week on the beach? It's fun, unexpected, and gets her to visualize her ideal life. Want to make her open up instantly? Ask, what's one thing people often misunderstand about you? This question works because it triggers self-reflection. Most people rarely get the chance to explain who they really are beneath the surface. When she answers, she's letting you into her private world. And that vulnerability builds trust faster than surface-level conversations ever could. Here's another powerful one. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be? This sparks imagination and passion. When she talks about the skill, she reveals her hidden desires and ambitions. You'll learn more about her in 1 minute than most guys would in weeks. Plus, it shows you're curious about her dreams, not just her appearance. That's incredibly attractive on a psychological level. Want her to smile? Ask a playful question like, what's the most ridiculous thing you believed as a kid? Humor creates instant chemistry. When someone laughs, their body releases endorphins, which build positive emotional associations. If you can make her laugh while also getting to know her, you become the guy she remembers long after the conversation ends. Questions that create attraction. Attraction isn't built by talking about yourself. It's built by making her feel seen. Ask, what's something you've done that you're secretly proud of? Most people hide their little victories. By giving her permission to share, you create a safe space where she feels understood and valued. This type of question also encourages deeper storytelling, making the interaction unforgettable. Another great one, If you could time travel to any year, past or future, where would you go and why? Time travel questions force the brain to think creatively and emotionally. Whether she talks about fixing regrets or exploring future possibilities, you're learning about her deepest motivations. It's the kind of question that makes the conversation unpredictable. And that unpredictability is magnetic. Here's a little psychological trick. Mix vulnerability with playfulness. Try. What's something embarrassing that happened to you, but you can laugh about now? First, it invites her to open up. Second, it creates a chance for you to share your own funny story, instantly balancing the dynamic. Shared vulnerability to stronger attraction. USing psychology to be memorable. Want to stand out from 99% of guys? Stop asking what everyone else asks. Instead, go for thought-provoking questions like, if you had to describe yourself using only 3 words, what would they be? This forces her to self-reflect and reveal how she sees herself. And here's the secret. People are naturally drawn to those who make them think about their identity. Don't underestimate the power of storytelling questions. Ask, what's the craziest thing that ever happened to you? When she shares a story filled with emotion, suspense, or humor, her brain releases dopamine, making the memory stick. If you listen actively, laughing, reacting, and asking follow-ups, you transform a simple chat into a bonding experience she won't forget. Here's another tip. Don't just collect answers. Respond with your own perspective. If she says her dream vacation is Bali, don't just say nice. Share your own dream spot and why. Conversations are like tennis. If you don't hit the ball back, the game dies. Questions create openings, but your responses keep the energy flowing, creating emotional depth. When you want to shift from fun to deeper connection, ask, who has influenced you the most in your life? This question dives straight into values, relationships, and personal history. People rarely ask it, but when they do, it unlocks stories that reveal who she truly is. Understanding her influences helps you understand what drives her decisions and desires. Try this one next. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received? Psychology shows that when people reflect on wisdom, they associate positive emotions with the person who triggered the memory. You're not just learning about her, you're giving her the chance to relive empowering moments, which makes the entire interaction emotionally charged and meaningful. Want to create instant chemistry? Tap into curiosity. Ask, what's one thing you've never told anyone before? This is powerful because it signals trust and intimacy. Of course, you should build enough rapport before asking. If she feels comfortable, she'll share something personal, and you'll instantly stand out from every guy who sticks to safe, shallow topics. Not every question has to be deep. Some should just be fun. Ask, if you were a superhero, what would your power be? Playful questions trigger imagination and spark creativity. They also let you flirt subtly by joking about your superpowers too. Shared laughter strengthens the bond and makes the vibe feel light and effortless. Here's another playful one. What's your guilty pleasure TV show or song? When she admits she secretly loves reality shows or cheesy pop music, you create a moment of shared humanity. Flirt back by revealing your own funny guilty pleasure. Self-deprecating humor builds trust and shows confidence at the same time. For a subtle flirt, ask, what's one thing you wish people noticed about you more? This works because it invites vulnerability while giving you the chance to compliment her authentically. If she says, my sense of humor, you can laugh and highlight it naturally. Flirting done right isn't forced. It's woven into curiosity-driven conversations. Want to make her feel truly understood? Ask, what's something you've always wanted to be appreciated for? This hits deep because most people crave recognition for things others overlook. When she shares, listen carefully and validate her feelings. By acknowledging what matters to her, you position yourself as someone who sees her in ways most people don't. That's powerful emotional leverage. Another connection-building question. What's the hardest lesson you've ever learned? It invites her to reflect on struggles and growth. When people reveal their pain, they also reveal their strength. And by listening without judgment, you create trust. Vulnerable conversations like these activate empathy and build intimacy faster than weeks of casual chats ever could. Here's a subtle psychological hack. Ask future-oriented questions. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? This works because imagining the future activates hope and ambition. If she includes you in her vision, even indirectly, that's a sign she's mentally aligning with you. Conversations about the future naturally deepen bonds and make you memorable. Sparking passion and dreams. Ask, what's one dream you've never told anyone about? This question pushes past small talk into raw authenticity. When she shares, she feels emotionally exposed, but in a good way. That level of vulnerability builds connection because you've created a safe space where she can express herself freely. Few people ever give her that opportunity. Here's another passion-driven one. If money wasn't an issue, what would you be doing right now? This reveals her true desires without the limits of reality. People open up more when they imagine freedom, and sharing fantasies creates emotional closeness. Plus, you'll learn what excites her most, giving you insights into her motivations and priorities. If you want to add excitement, ask, what's one spontaneous thing you've always wanted to do? Psychology shows that talking about thrilling experiences raises adrenaline and dopamine, the same chemicals linked to attraction. Conversations that involve risk, adventure, or unpredictability make you feel like someone who lives differently from everyone else. The power of storytelling questions. Want to make her open up effortlessly? Ask, what's the funniest thing that ever happened on a date? Storytelling questions work because they activate emotions and help her relive experiences in detail. When she laughs, smiles, or even cringes while recalling it, you're creating a shared moment of intimacy without forcing it. Another good one. Who was your childhood hero and why? Childhood questions unlock deep psychological layers. They reveal values formed early in life. Plus, talking about heroes and inspirations helps you understand what qualities she admires in others, giving you insights into what she subconsciously values in a partner. To create deeper intimacy, try. What's the most meaningful compliment you've ever received? Compliments reveal hidden insecurities and strengths. When she shares, you're discovering what she wishes people noticed more often. Later, when you genuinely compliment her on those exact traits, it lands 10x harder because it connects with her core identity. Shifting to flirty chemistry. Want to build playful tension? Ask, what's something you think I'd never guess about you? This invites mystery and creates curiosity. If she responds with something unexpected, lean into it. Tease her lightly, laugh, and keep the energy fun. Playful challenges like these trigger dopamine spikes, which strengthen attraction subconsciously. A more direct flirt, what's one thing that instantly makes you like someone? You're not asking about yourself, but her answer often reveals what she subconsciously desires in a partner. If you naturally display those qualities during the conversation, you become the living example of what she finds attractive. That's using psychology to your advantage. Here's another clever one. If we were stuck on a deserted island, what role would you give me? It's playful, creative, and opens the door to flirtatious banter. If she jokes that you'd be the cook or the protector, tease her back with your own playful answer. Fun hypothetical scenarios like this keep energy high and conversations memorable. Advanced psychological triggers. Use scarcity psychology subtly. Ask, what's one thing you wish more people understood about you? When you give her the chance to express something personal, you stand out from every guy who only asks surface-level questions. Being the rare person who listens deeply makes you significantly more attractive than the rest. Another advanced technique, mirror her emotions. When she shares something exciting, match her enthusiasm. When she talks about something personal, lower your tone and slow your pace. Emotional mirroring subconsciously signals compatibility, making her feel like you're on the same wavelength. It's a subtle but powerful attraction amplifier. Finally, ask, what's one thing you'd regret not doing in life? Regret-focused questions trigger deep introspection. When she reveals her answer, you gain insight into her priorities and unspoken desires. Closing with impact. The right questions don't just make conversations interesting, they make you unforgettable. Women are constantly approached, but very few men make them feel deeply understood. Use these psychology-backed questions to create curiosity, laughter, and emotional intimacy. And here's your challenge. Don't just memorize them, adapt them naturally. Be curious, be playful, be present. That's what makes the difference between just talking and truly connecting.